Here we are on the Mississippi Flyway, where millions of birds will migrate through every spring and fall. But let's travel to the Pacific Flyway, where a group of junior high and high school students, the McPhie cousins, these cousins have worked together to restore native habitat with a mini climate makeover. What can you do? What could you learn from these boys that will help you to make a difference in both reducing our impact on the climate and improving the habitat for native birds?
Birds are real. So is climate change, and so is your ability to help.
In Earth's past, the climate changed slowly, giving plants and animals time to adapt. But today, as birds face habitat loss, food insecurity, and migration disruption, it's becoming harder and harder for these birds to adapt. It's almost as if the world is moving faster than they can catch up. That's why we created the Climate Mini-Makeovers Project. We want to empower young people to pursue environmental justice in their own communities by teaching them how to perform mini makeovers in their yards, patios, balconies, and shared spaces.
As young people act locally, they reduce their carbon footprint, create bird-friendly habitats, learn about the climate crisis, and become part of the solution.
We help young people recognize and weed out invasive plant species and replace them with native ones. In order to survive, birds need the native species that they evolved with.
The problem with the plants that are available in many nurseries is that they are exotic species that come from other places. The exact qualities that are extolled by the nurseries, such as having leaves that are resistant to native insects and caterpillars, are the same qualities that make them poor sources of food for native birds. It turns out that over 90% of North American bird species feed insects to their young. So insect-proof plants might as well be artificial plants. Without insects, birds have nothing with which to nourish their young.
This year we taught 60 middle schoolers in our community to make bird-friendly habitats in their own homes, winning us the Keep America Beautiful Hometown USA Award for lasting change. In accordance with safety guidelines, we dropped off the equipment at a community center beforehand and taught summer camp classes over Zoom to other youth in our city.
Some of them live in single-family homes with yards or gardens. Others live in apartments or duplexes with balconies. We've implemented principles that will work in any setting to plant bird-friendly native plant species.
It isn't enough to understand that we have a responsibility to them, or to comprehend on a logical level that we cannot make it through life without them. It isn't even enough to feel that we should stop and help, or that we will be glad later if we do stop and help. We actually have to do it.
John James Audubon once said, quote, "A true conservationist knows that the world is not given to him by his fathers, but borrowed from his children."
We want a world that future generations can live in, one where they will appreciate the beauty of nature.
Climate Mini-Makeovers creates bird-friendly environments that provides food, saves water, and fights climate change. We connect people to the part of the Earth that they live in. As more and more people improve their immediate surroundings, the Earth will be turned into a patchwork of beautiful spaces. Please join us today by helping to improve your space. Thank you.
Wow, what a brilliant and simple idea. By simply removing the invasive species, planting native species, your backyard, your schoolyard, the local park, yard by yard, park by park, we are reducing our impact on the climate, reversing climate change, and improving the habitat for lots of migratory birds. It's astounding to think millions of birds fly over your house every spring and fall. What can you do to improve their survivability in that difficult migration? What can you do to be a clean water champion?